What's going on, guys? It is a very tired but revivified luminostic, or wait, I mean it's Ayahuma. This mask and little dolls, I guess, of the spirit Ayahuma are ubiquitous all throughout all the little tourist shops in Banos, Ecuador, where I've just come from. We had a pretty amazing time, but in particular, I had a really powerful synchronicity occur. And due to the nature of the synchronicity, it's like there was this extra little bit of like humor, I guess, or well, we'll get there. But so as an add-on at our retreats, if guests want to pay the extra money and go up to the volcano, it's about 3 hours away from Miss Hawaii. And when we move to the new property, we'll still be offering that that trip, so nothing's going to change. So we rent an ATV, or it's like a small Jeep, and then we go up to the cone of the volcano. And then on the way down the mountain, usually we'll stop at an animal park, mostly because I have a toddler, but they have all kinds of, I guess they're like high-end breeding animals for show. I've never seen a lot of these creatures. It's pretty remarkable. So, and then, you know, we soak in the thermals, and then we go to the Cascada Pailon del Diablo, which is the Cauldron of the Devil in English. And it's a beautiful hike through like mountainous jungle down into the bottom of the waterfall. And you can go, there's like sort of a trail that cuts up into this cavern, and you can actually go behind the waterfall, which is just massive pouring. I mean, the pictures in the thumbnail, you guys can get an idea of what it's like. But it is really just a powerful, crazy waterfall on the Pastaza River in the jungle. It's like a band of jungle in the mountains. And so while I was standing in the at the base of the waterfall, just kind of taking in the astonishing geometries and the geological formations, and right before you arrive at the waterfall, there's a big, like, sort of, it's not a statue exactly, I guess a sculpture made of like leaves, and he's kind of holding the rocks up. And so the indigenous people here, particularly the Shuar, believe that there are sort of like guardian spirits at the waterfalls, and so they're very sacred. The Shuar really consider the waterfalls like to be central to their existence. In fact, we also sometimes go down to Gualaquiza, to Shuar territory, to drink with Miguel Chiriop, and you'll notice that the waterfall, the Cascada, just comes up over and over again when he's opening ceremony, talking after ceremony, just in conversation. It's just always, it just comes back to the Cascadas. And so this Pailon del Diablo is widely considered the most impressive Ecuador, or waterfall in Ecuador. And it's you know, just a few miles away from the town and a few miles away from Volcan Tungurahua, I guess is the pronunciation. So anyways, I'm standing in this waterfall, crystal clear water, you know, it's just so powerful and old. The rocks are, you know, worn smooth, and there's mist spraying you in the face, and there's caverns right above you, and there's this big formation of quartz in one of the rifts in the rock. And, you know, I was just standing there thinking, there has to be some kind of creator. There's no way that this was all just a random gobbledygook. You know, that idea is just so preposterous that, you know, it's of course very silly to believe in this old Bronze Age, you know, talking zombie savior god, but I think it's equally ridiculous to be a abject materialist. And so I'm thinking this, and then we're walking back down the trail, And I didn't see this sign, but my partner Enrica says, did you see that sign back there? And I said, no. And she said, it says, are you ready for a surprise? And then the next sign says, God exists. And so she tells me this, and I literally, you know, right before we left, I'd been thinking there has to be some kind of creator. So that really seemed like a direct answer. And it, you know, there are like layers of it, because the spirits of the waterfall, you could sort of blame them, I guess, or attribute the experience to the presence of these spirits that the Shuar believe are there. Or you could call it, you know, message directly from the creator. Or you could think of it as a synchronicity that occurs just because of the symmetry that is imbued into the structure of the universe because of the universal mind. Or you could say that it's just a coincidence. But I thought it was a remarkable occurrence, and yeah, just a really beautiful couple of days. Definitely, you know, any of you guys that are thinking of coming to visit us, I really encourage you to do the Banos trip. It's really an amazing town. The thermal baths are heated by the volcanic waters, and there's a massive waterfall that goes all the way from the peaks down right behind the thermal baths. There's great food everywhere. One of the reasons we go is to have a break from the rigors of plant medicine and the, you know, stricter diet and whatnot. And so we actually went to a steakhouse, and some people were vegetarian, but you know, they had salads, and I got a steak that is served on a slab of volcanic rock that is still heating, so it's still cooking the steak when they bring it out on fire. And there's just all sorts of amazing stuff in Banos. You can do zip lines, and mostly though, you know, I think to put yourself in the thermals after, you know, a week of plant medicine for a few days, and to go up on top of the volcano, which, by the way, the Quechua basically believe that the spirit of the Tungurahua volcano is a woman who is very licentious and what was the word they use? She seduces a lot of men, men and women. Actually, she's a bisexual volcano spirit, and as is the tendency of beautiful, vain women, she sometimes becomes angry and spews hot lava. And it's not actually totally unheard of for the volcano to burp sometimes, and the town will be covered in ash. My partner and her sister, who's actually here at the moment, said that one night they stayed and they heard this big loud explosion in the middle of the night, and when they went out in the morning, the whole town was covered in ash. People had masks on, they were sweeping up. So it does happen from time to time. I think the last eruption was in 1999, but it is a fully active volcano. Yeah, it's a wonder to behold, Banos for sure, and the air is just amazing. We always stay at the Chimenea, Hostel Chimenea. They have like rooftop dining. The waterfall is right behind it. If it's clear, you can see the volcano off in the other direction. So by the way, you guys, my stream quality will return to its normal quality. I had to use my phone tonight because our computer screen broke. So can't have my microphone. I am currently in Misawali, and it's not Misawai. That's how the Spanish pronounce it. It has two L's, but it's Quechua, so it actually is Misawali. And we're moving in maybe a week to nowhere. Basically, it's just Quechua land in the middle of nowhere. We met a shaman a little while back that really liked us, and no, we're in Napo, so it's a little bit more deep in the jungle, and Zamora is kind of on the outskirts of the jungle. It's kind of a transition. Well, I think actually you can continue past Zamora, and then you can get deep in the jungle there, but Yeah, so met the shaman, and honestly, I had asked during ceremony to be guided to, another property because we just had certain issues that we cannot resolve. And right on, yeah, I mean, Zamora's jungle. Zamora's nice. I like Zamora. So yeah, I asked if we needed to move, and the next day I ran into this Quechua gentleman who turned out to be a shaman that owns this $1.5 million property with waterfalls and a river, crystal clear river going through it, and parrots all flying around it. And they rescued a bunch of boas, so there's boas all around in the trees, and there are caverns. There's a big stone that holds a spherical stone that you can feel vibrating when you drink ayahuasca and touch it. It's just unbelievable. There are tortoises. The local tortugas are like walking around in the buildings sometimes. Monkeys, everything. And the thing about, where we are now is that in order to go to caverns and waterfalls and stuff, we have to get a taxi and go. So now at this property, we can be totally self-contained and experience everything in the jungle. And I mean, this place is like the ayahuasca Stonehenge for the Quechua people. This big stone, no one knows what the explanation is. It's just this big flat rock. I think I posted a picture. If you go to my subscriber community and scroll, you should be able to find it. And then there's a perfectly spherical stone that is sitting in this like holder. I don't know if it's natural. I can't imagine that it is. But the spherical stone is really big. Like it would take, 4 guys to lift it up and put it there. And the shaman who owns the property, his name is Juan de la Cruz, and he says that no one knows where it came from or why it vibrates or anything, but it's been kind of like a mecca for the Quechua here in Ecuador for a long time. And so he said that he could tell that we were in this for the right reasons and that our hearts were pure, and invited us to come and move to his property. And so the Quechua get 50% of our retreats. So if we do well, we're actually benefiting the local indigenous people there who are definitely struggling. The economic toll of COVID and whatnot has not been easy on anyone, but people that are already living in or near poverty, it's been particularly difficult. And actually, the government here isn't too kind to the indigenous. The last time there were lockdowns, we're actually you can send me an email at luminosis111.com at Gmail. It's in the description to the video. And we can talk about all that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, they locked the Quechua in here. Like the bridge, there's one bridge to get out, and they locked it, closed. Like you could not leave in a car or go in, so no supplies, which isn't really a big deal in a sense, because they have chickens and the jungle takes care of you. There's so much food out here. Right now the halado, what are they called? Ice cream beans in English. They're like these big long green fruits, and you bust them open and there's like wet cotton candy inside, basically. It's absolutely incredible. Those things are raining down from the sky everywhere right now. And then there's the cacao de monte, which is like this big yellow pod with like this gooey stuff inside and seeds, and then you cook it and salt it, and it's amazing. There's wild cacao growing everywhere. You can just bust those open, and nutrition, caffeine, thebaine, all sorts of phenethylamines, like MDMA related compounds, all sorts of nutrients and protein. I mean, the cacao defies belief, like how good it is for you and how amazing it tastes. We're actually doing a couples retreat probably in February for Valentine's Day, where we're going to serve cacao juice, and it's not the fermented roasted bean. We're talking about the pulp from the fruit, which if you've never tried it, is sort of like coconut, mango, pineapple, but better than all of those things. It's definitely the best thing on earth. In fact, every single person I've given it to so far has said this is easily the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. There's no contest. A little bit of coconut milk with the cacao juice, and then I'm adding the flowers of uchu sananga. So there's chirik sananga, which most of you probably aren't familiar with. It's this big bush in the Solanaceae family. It's a little bit dangerous to work with the root. The flowers and leaves are pretty safe. They're used for STDs and pain control and to get some energy, and at high enough doses, maybe a little bit of psychotropic stuff happening. The roots are used by the Shuar only for certain shamanic initiations, so that's where it gets dangerous when you start messing with the root. So that's Chiric Sananga, which we actually do use the flowers and leaves to make a tea on a pretty regular basis here. And Uchu Sananga is the one that you make the eye drops with. And that is a very powerful experience. If you are with the medicine and you put them in your eyes, it's remarkable how it seems to just like wipe away all of the bad energy and sort of the panema, as the Quechua call it. And the visions just open up and become super clear. It's really extraordinary. And so the flowers are a very strong aphrodisiac, and there are a number of other remarkable benefits of consuming this plant. It actually has a white latex, tons of alkaloids in it, crazy chemical profile. And so we add the flowers of the Uchu Sananga to the cacao juice, which is full of empathy-causing compounds and tonka bean. And so there's a spring on this property we're moving to that is sacred to the Quechua, and only women and couples are allowed to enter into it. So we're going to kind of focus it around the spring, which is right by the caverns. There are petroglyphs. I forgot to mention that, I think. I haven't even seen them yet, but Monday we're going to go out there. I'm going to make a promo video of the property and do an interview with Taita Juan, and we're going to be there in 9 days. So yeah, for those of you that are dialing in, just real quick recap. The story was basically that I went to this extraordinary waterfall that's called the Pailon del Diablo in Spanish, because there's like the face of the devil in the rock. I didn't notice that. No one told us. I didn't find that out until I got home. Next time I'll have to look for it. So it's just so extraordinarily beautiful that, you know, I was thinking there has to be some kind of creator. And as I'm leaving, I failed to notice this sign, right? And my partner said, "Did you see that sign? It says, 'Are you ready for a surprise? There is a God.'" And so that was just, you know, a remarkable synchronicity that I felt inclined to share with everyone. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share these videos. We're demonetized. The algorithm gives us no love. So in order to grow, we need your support. If you feel that there is someone out there that might appreciate these videos, we really appreciate you sharing them. There are options for making contributions in the Zelle and PayPal and Cash App and crypto in the description. So yeah, and you know, it's not that it's not just that we don't get the advertising. We don't have super chat enabled. We can't do that. And because of my content, Facebook has notified me that they deprioritize my stuff and put it lower in people's feeds. Instagram does it, so it's really difficult for me to grow as a creator without grassroots effort support from people like you. Also, you can join our Patreon secret streams, where we have been analyzing formerly secret book written by Albert Pike, 33rd Degree, and Southern Inspector of the Southern Jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, the 28th Degree, Knight of the Royal Serpent, or no, excuse me, 28th Degree is Prince Adept, or Knight of the Sun. So thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I will be back with you later on this week, maybe with one of our guests. He was actually asking me tonight if he could pop on and talk about his experience so far, but he went to bed already. So we'll see you guys again soon, and thank you so much for your support.